Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be a Q&A style video. These are all questions that you guys asked me on my video 2 videos ago. It was like my Let's Talk Reseller Struggles video. I asked you guys in that to ask any questions that you might have. So I pulled all those questions together and we are going to be filming a Q&A today. And by we, I mean me and this girl. This baby girl. This baby girl. This little cutie pie. Huh, you good girl. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and let's jump into the questions. All right, so first question, where do you like to thrift? My favorite place to thrift is the Goodwill outlet bins where you pay by the pound. That's where I get a lot of my inventory for a lower cost of good. So I really like going there. And I also love Savers. It's another thrift store, kind of similar to a Goodwill. I find a lot of good stuff there. I also like Goodwill. I've started also stopping in at like Plato's Closet and just quickly looking through some of the categories like dresses and jeans to see if I can get stuff there. So I'm gonna add that to the list of favorite places to thrift. I am starting to see that that might be a good option for some of those kind of higher profit flips. Why did you move across the country? So for anybody who doesn't know, I'm originally from a suburb right outside of Portland, Oregon. I was born and raised there and then went to college in Portland. So then after college, I stayed in Portland for a while. Then when I was 25, I moved from Portland to the Hudson Valley here in New York. I had moved for a job and also a big life change. I was ready for kind of new scenery, new people, new location, all of that. So I originally moved for a job and for new life experiences. Where else do you want to live? I would love to live in the mountains or near the mountains in Tennessee or Vermont or Colorado, somewhere mountainous. I would love to look out the window and see like mountainous sweeping views. How old is Nellie? Nellie, this one's about you, so you gotta be in this, babe. So Nellie is 3 years old. She turned 3 in December. She's a Christmas pup, so yeah, her birthday is on Christmas and she turned 3, so she is 3 years old. How was it in the beginning of being a dog mom and how long have you been a mom to Nellie? I guess let me give a little backstory. So when I first became a dog mom, I was 20 years old. I think I was a senior in college and I had adopted a dog with my ex-boyfriend who we named Benji, and he was 4 months old. He was a rescue pit bull. Awesome dog. Training was really hard at first, like potty training was hard. My ex and I had gone to a PetSmart like doggy training class, like puppy training. So that was actually really helpful to learn kind of the basics with training. And I think it's really good, especially for newer dog parents, to do some type of a positive reinforcement training class or something. It's obviously a lot of work, a lot of responsibility, but the good outweighed the bad for sure. Beginning of 2019 is when my ex and I got Nellie, and we were so excited to get her. She was another rescue. So I've had Nellie since beginning of 2019. Obviously my ex and I broke up. Benji and Nellie actually didn't get along. Nellie really liked Benji, but Benji was not a fan of her. He was really just not a fan of having another dog in his space, which some dogs just are not good with other dogs in their space. It was clear that my ex and I were not going to be able to have both of them together. I took Nellie, he took Benji, and then when I moved from Portland to New York, probably like 6 months later, Nellie and I took the trip to New York. So I've been Nellie's mom since February of 2019, so pretty much exactly 3 years. Let me know if you're a dog mom down below. It is probably one of the best things on this entire planet. Next question, do you work out? I do work out, not quite as much as I would like to, but I try to at least a few days a week. Usually first thing in the morning, I will either lift weights or ride the stationary bike that we have. So I try to work out semi-regularly. It doesn't always happen. What made you get into reselling? So I first started selling on Poshmark back in 2019 just to get rid of my old clothes. And then I think it was around the end of 2020 that I started considering actually thrifting to resell. And I really just was intrigued by the idea of like saving stuff from the thrift store that would otherwise end up in a landfill potentially and kind of giving it second life. So I was just really intrigued by it all and thought it seemed like a really cool way to make money and also do good and shop. What were your experiences from when you first started reselling? Things started out pretty slow when I first started reselling. I would go to, usually I think it was Savers when I first started thrifting to resell, and I would buy like 10 to 15 items that I spent probably too much for what they were. I bought a lot of mall brands at first, like Forever 21, Banana Republic, stuff like that. and was just kind of slowly starting to get the hang of it. I would sell maybe 1 to 2 items per week and then just go back the next week, do the same thing, you know, find some items that I thought were cute and try to sell them. So it started out slow, and I was on just Poshmark for probably the first 4 or 5 months, and, you know, started to see a little bit more traction. I watched a lot of YouTube videos at first to learn. Jack and Ryan's channel is probably where I think I learned the most right off the bat. I would watch their thrift hauls and their what sold videos and just learn as much as I could about brands and keywords and stuff like that. So at first, it definitely started out slow, and I was, you know, making a profit, but it was, you know, a low profit because I was spending up at the thrift stores for items that I should not have been spending up for. So it was a lot of learning at the beginning and a lot of trial and error, but a lot of consistency. I just kept going back thrifting more, trying to sell it, keeping an eye on what actually did sell, making note of that. Once I started picking up like Madewell and Lululemon and some of the brands that actually ended up selling quicker and for a higher profit, I was very much hooked. A small advantage I had when I first started thrifting to resell was that I had already been reselling my old clothes on Poshmark for almost 2 years at that point. So I did kind of know how the app worked, and I understood about sharing your closet and how to ship items and stuff like that. But, you know, backing up even more, when I first started on Poshmark, I do remember there being a really big learning curve with how the app worked, how to ship items, what boxes to ship in, and all of that. So I think by the time I was thrifting to resell, I at least had, you know, some knowledge of the app. So I think that was helpful for me. If you're someone who's just starting out reselling and using Poshmark or, you know, any selling platforms, there is that kind of learning curve, I guess, but you learn as you go, and I think the more consistent you are, the quicker you will learn. How young are you? Thank you for saying how young are you, not how old are you. I'm 27 years young. What are some of your favorite things to do outside of reselling? I love to snowboard. It's like my biggest favorite hobby that I don't do nearly as much as I would like to, but I love snowboarding. That's part of why I want to live close to the mountains so I can go more often. I love watching TV. I've got a lot of shows that I love. I love Ozark, Good Trouble, pretty much any true crime docu-series. I also volunteer at my local dog shelter 1 morning a week, so I love that, everything about that. Learning about dogs, learning about training, getting to walk the dogs, see the dogs. You guys know I love dogs at this point, so pretty much anything that has to do with dogs I love. I am definitely more of an introvert, so I like to spend time at home watching TV, hanging out with Nellie, just kind of relaxing. That's really my favorite, taking baths, you know, stuff like that. What does your inventory system look like? Everything is stored up in my office. I have all of my jackets and tops and everything, dresses, hung. So I have 2 full racks and then like a coat closet rack that I hang all of those things. And then I store all pants and shorts and stuff in buckets, and I use like a letter number system. So that's how I have it right now. Shoes, I still need to put into shoe boxes, those like priority mail shoe boxes to store them. That's something I want to do, haven't done it yet. So for now, my shoes are just kind of like, you know, wherever they fit in my office, but I do want to get the shoes organized a little bit better. But that is how I have things for now, and it works for me. Do you use any service to cross post? Yes, I use List Perfectly. It's $29.99 a month, and I use it to cross list over to eBay and Mercari. I like List Perfectly a lot, and I think if you are selling a good amount, the 30 bucks a month is definitely worth it. With that being said, I don't think it is that necessary. I think it is super helpful to speed things up, but it's not that hard to copy and paste from one platform onto another without a cross-post service. How do you track things for tax purposes? So I track everything in an Excel sheet. Anytime I buy something from the thrift store, I plug it into this sheet and just add in like my cost of goods and everything. And then when something sells, I will also add in the sale price, and then it breaks down for me like what my profit was and everything. I'll also add in like shipping costs on that sheet. So I track as much as I can on there. And then for business expenses, I just either save the receipts if it's a physical receipt, or I will put it in a folder. I'll take a screen grab of the receipt online, put it in a folder just so it's all in one place. So that's really how I track for taxes. How do you figure out prices to resell stuff for? The first thing I do is figure out what the original retail price was. I think that's a good starting point. Whether you look up the brand and style name on the care tag, there sometimes is a style name depending on the brand. So that's one way to look it up. Or I'll use Google reverse image on my phone, take a picture to figure out the exact style name. Once I do that, I'll Google it, look it up, figure out what it originally retailed for. So then once I know the retail price, I will look at the comparable sold prices for that item, see what it's sold for recently, see what it's currently being listed at for people who are currently selling that item, and I'll price it right around somewhere in between what it's sold for and what people are listing it at. I like to consider the fact that Poshmark will take 20% of the sale price and that people will most likely either accept my offer or will send me an offer. So from that sold price, I'll definitely price it up a bit from there. And then based on condition, I will either price it up a little bit if it's in excellent condition or price it down a little bit if it's got some flaws. I also consider if the item is extremely rare or super sought after, I might price it up a little bit just to factor that in. But really it's kind of just like, what is the market value of this item and what is a fair price. All right guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like down below. I hope you guys have a really good rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video.